My name is Aubrey. I work for a nonprofit providing service dogs free of charge to people with physical disabilities. I like Progress Texas because it brings together like-minded people moving forward all of the initiatives that we want in Texas. It's just a really good group of folks that are contributing to a better Texas.
It's Thursday, November 7, 2024, and this is the Progress Texas Daily Dispatch, rapid response on the breaking news stories Texas progressives need to know. I'm Chris Mosier. Here's hoping you've gotten some sleep, that you've spent some time with your loved ones, that you've done whatever you had to do to express and process the emotions that every progressive person in the world felt with the outcome of the election. Here's hoping that what may have felt like a nightmare yesterday is starting to come into focus as the reality that it is. If you need a bit more time, do take it. But we do have to address what happened, why it happened, and what we plan to do about it. For now, Texas progressives continue unpacking another shellacking, this one severe and decisive enough to undermine the conventional wisdom of a steadily bluing Texas. Almost any expectations of voting patterns based upon age or ethnicity, and the idea that Texans will eventually come around to our logic and our view of the world, we have to take a long, hard look at this loss and remember that the game is about hearts and minds. This election was an abject failure to communicate basic progressive principles in a state where the forces against us have developed a systematic long game with comparatively unlimited funding. More on that coming up. Reform Austin puts it out there that the Texas Democratic Party, led by Chairman Gilberto Hinojosa since 2012, must own a big part of this failure. They quote an anonymous insider who says, quote, "After 12 years, in just one night, we're back to square one. In a year when Trump's margin in swing states and emerging competitive states was razor thin, this is damn well unacceptable. There is no excuse, and it helps no one to pretend otherwise. The state party leadership owns party performance. Let's be real. A state party chaired by a former Cameron County judge just lost South Texas to Trump, and 2 Texas House seats and 1 Texas Senate seat along with it, while gaining 0 possible pickups. At some point, accountability has to happen," unquote. Justin Miller at the Texas Observer weighs in that the state party set a low bar for itself and aiming to flip 2 or 3 of the GOP's most tenuous state House seats in order to counter Governor Abbott's gains in his private school voucher campaign, but that they tripped over that low bar, losing those races plus 2 open seats held by retiring Democrats in Uvalde and Corpus Christi. James Barragan and Matthew Choi at the Texas Tribune talked to John Taylor, a political science professor at the University of Texas at San Antonio, who says, quote, "This to me is a complete disaster. They underperformed everywhere. They are disorganized. They are a party in the wilderness," unquote. To Democratic operative Ali Zaidi, who feels the party is stuck in the now thoroughly debunked notion that a diversifying Texas will lead automatically to Democratic gains, saying, quote, "Campaigns are not magical things that change how people feel about the world. If an electorate is no longer a reliable electorate for you, the answer as a campaign is to find a new electorate that works for you," unquote. To Matt Engel at the Lone Star Project, who thinks Texas Dems spend too much time on issues that the activist base is fired up about while neglecting what's actually on the minds of everyday voters, the economy in particular. Engel says what many of us have been saying all along to little avail, quote, "We need to find out where voters are and meet them where they are," unquote. Republican consultant Spencer Davis wrote an op-ed in the Dallas Morning News where he definitely does some gloating but does make points we should heed. Quote, "For Democrats in Texas, Tuesday night should trigger more than soul-searching. It should prompt a complete reboot of their Texas strategy. Their urban advantage is eroding faster than anyone predicted, and their path to relevance in Texas is narrowing with each election cycle. One thing's certain, anyone still operating from the old Texas political playbook needs to throw it out. Texas voters are writing their own rules now," unquote. We're all still coming to terms with the hard fact that over the next 4 years, under a Trump administration, you and I will be part of a minority opposition. Bob Gee and Asher Price at Axios begin to outline what that looks like here in Texas, starting with Trump's promise to launch a massive deportation program, which would target the at least 2 million undocumented immigrants who live and work in the Lone Star State. Labor markets and industries that rely on that work will face major disruptions that will absolutely affect consumer prices, groceries, construction, hospitality services, on and on. Let's recall that during Trump's first term, more than 5,000 children were separated from their parents and families at the border. That practice has been banned federally, but Trump stands to gain every tool he might need to offset that ban. Oil and gas stand to boom even beyond the all-time historic boom they currently enjoy, with even less environmental oversight than they already tend to ignore, while the booming wind and solar energy sector in Texas could take a hit if Trump successfully ends President Biden's signature Inflation Reduction Act. As we painfully know, here in Texas, we've lived under harsh Republican rule for 30 years now, so in a way, this election just delivers more of the same, just a little worse. The source of our stress and the reason for our renewed determination is Donald Trump. We're all coming to grips with this. And let me recommend a short read from Tom Nichols and The Atlantic that reminds us that Trump's tendency to surround himself with sycophants is reason to hope that his second administration may be as ineffectual as his first was. Nichols says, quote, Trump has the soul of a fascist, but the mind of a disordered child. He will likely be surrounded by terrible but incompetent people. All of them can be beaten in court, in Congress, in state houses around the nation. America is a federal republic, and the states, at least those in the union that will still care about democracy, have ways to protect their citizens from a rogue president. Nothing is inevitable, and democracy will not fall overnight. I am not counseling complacency. Trump's re-election is a national emergency. If we have learned anything from the past several years, it's that feel-good performative politics can't win elections. But if there was ever a time to exercise the American right of free assembly, it is now, unquote. Now is the time to recommit to our values and stand up for them. Which is exactly what a big bunch of Texas State students did yesterday. As the hard reality of the Trump win was sinking in, they faced down a small demonstration of Christian nationalist agitators on their San Marcos campus yesterday afternoon. Apparently a detachment of a group out of the Panhandle who drove all the way down to own the libs, but ended up in the back of a police car. Nice work, cats. But for all of us, we're likely to see more of these confrontations. Let's remember that we must stand up to bullies. But what they want is for us to lose control in front of their cameras. Calm, steadfast resistance is the way, never violence. Sometimes it's not easy, but now more than ever, we must be better than our opposition. Here at Progress Texas, we pledge to renew our commitment to the fight for reproductive justice, a clean environment, fair elections, good schools, and the basic universal human dignity we all deserve. Head to ProgressTexas.org for more on how to join us as we continue our efforts to unify progressive Texans in the ongoing push for positive change and the fight for what's right here in the Lone Star State. The hard reality is our funding at Progress Texas is rarely robust enough to plan much more than a quarter or two ahead, while the long game of our opponents is funded by oil billionaires and religious right-wing activist groups. At present, we do not have sufficient funding for the crucial upcoming 2025 legislative session. Our listeners form the backbone of our funding here at Progress Texas. If you're a regular listener and you like what we do, we need your support. As a monthly contributor, no amount is too small. Go to ProgressTexas.org/donate, and thanks to Clayton Tucker, DK Wilkerson, and Ivan Friedman, all of whom have joined the team lately. We appreciate all of you. If recent events have you wondering what more you can do and perhaps looking for community in a trying time, do consider supporting Progress Texas by attending one of our holiday parties for this year, coming up in Austin on December 3rd and Dallas on December 16th. Both fundraising events for the fight beyond this election into the next Texas legislative session. We need your help to continue this important work, and party sponsorships are available now. Thanks to Mari Ramirez, CPA, and the Honorable John Busey for their holiday party contributions. We look forward to seeing both of y'all. That's the Progress Texas Daily Dispatch for this Thursday, November 7th, 2024. Links to all these original stories can be found in our show notes. Progress Texas is a nonprofit rapid response media organization promoting progressive messages and actions. While campaigns come and go, we're the permanent home for progressive media and action in the Lone Star State. I'm Chris Mosier. Thanks for listening. Make it a great day. We'll see you again tomorrow morning.